Naked Nation, what is going on? I want to give you guys another YouTube video installment series. I'm going to be covering a wide range of products, ideas today, in a sense. I'm going to be mostly covering just kind of what the questions have been on stream the last little while in regards to like leverage, in regards to taking profits, in terms of strategy, just like a little bit of a more of a chat video than a real kind of directional video. But it's kind of important to kind of like discuss things that I've been seeing questions on during my live streams, which I don't want to repeat again, or I'm tired of repeating. So that's when I usually start to make these videos. But fundamentally, kind of like starting with taking profits and trading in general. I think it's pretty crucial that whatever coin you trade, you figure out what the average move for that coin is. Like Solana can move easily $4 to $5 a day. Ethereum can move $100 to $150 a day type things, right? You want to figure out what the average move is in a bullish move and in a bearish move, right? So if you're shorting in a bullish move, right, what is the level of profit that is acceptable for a move down, right? If in a move up right now, right, if you see Solana move down like $3-4, just because you have a target of if it goes below 180 or whatever, right? Especially if you're like short-term trading in a sense, right? Like essentially, like right now, like if you're kind of looking at the 27-minute like Solana and you shorted 194 and it moved down to 190, a $3-4 move, especially in a bullish move, like that's probably a good time to at least take 30% profit, let alone oversold stochastics, right? Like that should be kind of obvious, if it's not obvious by now by watching my videos, that when if you're shorting in a bullish move and it's like oversold and like clearly there's a bullish divergence, yeah, maybe it can go lower, and maybe the 3 hours look like they can go lower. Yeah, sure, maybe. But you kind of got to respect the fact that it can easily go back to your entry, and you don't want to ride that elevator for free. I find it very, 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 very importantly critical, like I do on my live streams, that you take at least 30-40% profit. Where, I mean, 30 is kind of good, 40 is a little bit aggressive, 50 is more aggressive. That you take 30-40% of your position, because there's a good chance you're going to ride your elevator very close to where you entered, right? So it's kind of critical to recognize, hey, I'm shorting in a bullish trend. It's moved $3 to $4, $5. It's kind of the average move. The stochastics are relatively oversold. Maybe I should take a little bit of profit. Maybe it goes lower. Maybe it doesn't, right? But you're playing a game of, like I always say, it's better to have 100 trades that are plus 1% than 100 trades that are minus 1%, because those minus 1% trades are going to add up over time, right? So you really want to be doing that fundamentally. So like goal number one when you start trading is to figure out what, focus on one coin, like I've said in my previous videos. Eventually you can do more than one coin, and you'll start to get a hang of playing more than one coin. But you really, 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 really want to focus on one coin so you can really understand how much it moves in a certain area. How much can you get away with the coin at the time, especially when you're playing with high leverage. And that kind of moves into my next point. Like, if you're just starting off playing, like, it doesn't matter. Like, just start with low leverage, 20, 30x, and then move up as you get more confident. I see too many of you fucking motherfuckers starting off with like 75 or 100x leverage. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? You're not even good, bro. Like, I don't care if you're just starting to even train yourself. Like, you're just gonna train yourself on lower volume first, or lower leverage, and then move up, right? And going on to my next point, where some of you have questions that you've seen my videos recently, where I say it's better to use higher leverage, lower margin, right? How much money you place on a bet, than low leverage, high margin, because that's when you get into situations where you'll end up opening up a trade and be like, 5x leverage, it's not that bad, I'll put like 2-3k on fucking 5x leverage, and a 20% move liquidates you, right? And 20% in crypto, up or down, happen all the time, whether it's over a period of 1 to 2, 3 days, or in one day total, right? The problem is when you do your low leverage trade with 2 to 3 thousand, right? And let's say your total portfolio is 10K, right? And you're like, oh, that's that's like 20% of my portfolio. Maybe it's a little aggressive, but it's low leverage. The problem is when it goes down only 10%, right? And a 10% move happens every other fucking day on average within a 2 day period, right? 5% one day, 5% the next day. You're holding on to this position. Next thing you know, you're down 1.5 to 1K on that trade. And suddenly you're like fucking smoked, right? So it's important to, number one, make sure you fucking watch my video on bankroll management. Bankroll management is the most important thing. You just gotta treat it like you're in a casino, right? Like if you go in to play a roulette table and you only bring $200, the casino is gonna rinse you every time because you don't have enough to reload to make up for the variance, for the bullshit, right? You're gonna get emotional. You're gonna go reload. And instead of having a bankroll to begin with, you're gonna just keep getting into this like mental psychological fuck show. It's one thing to lose your money, but it's another thing to lose your mind. Do not lose your mind. And the only way you lose your mind in this casino is when you play with too much money that you cannot afford to lose. That is fundamentally the worst thing you can do. Like, losing money is one thing, but if you lose your mind, once you start into rage trading and all this shit, that's how you fuck yourself. That's why this bankroll management shit is so fucking giga critical, guys. It is. You cannot be a successful trader without managing your money correctly. And maybe you have to start with very, very high, stringent fucking bankroll management rules, as if you would approach the poker world where, if it's like, a $200 buy-in to a poker table, you want to have $20,000, because if you lose 200 out of 20,000, you're like, oh, I don't really give a fuck. It sucks. Move on to the next play, right? That's how you don't lose your mind. By not playing with money that if you lose like 10 or 20%, you're like, oh my god, I just lost. I have to make it back. Da 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 da. If you're good, if you know it, that money that you lose, it won't fucking matter, right? So it's really, really important for you guys to kind of understand this when you're starting to leverage trade. And of course, use code NAKEDNATION on BitUnix to get VIP3 and access to special tournaments and giveaways on BitUnix. So make sure to use that code NAKEDNATION. Haha, you like that, don't you? But seriously aside, you never know when some random news is gonna drop. Like you don't know. Like right now, Trump just comes out and says, that China may have to pay 155% tariff on November 1st if there's no deal, and all this stuff. It's just like, you don't want to get fucked with or caught with your pants down, and suddenly you're like, oh man, I had a good trade going, or oh, I was trading well for 2-3 weeks, and suddenly, and that's the big thing. I hear this all the time. You guys are like, oh, I was doing well for 2-3 weeks, and now I'm getting wrecked. It's because you were just trading, you were shorting or longing with the market going down or up, and it was working out for you. It's like you weren't good. You were just lucky that you happened to open a trade and you happened to choose the right path, right? It's a 50-50 path here, ladies and gentlemen, up or down. Right? You can be lucky for a few weeks on a 50-50 coin flips. Fundamentally, that's what it is, right? The market goes down for 2-3 weeks, you short it for 2-3 weeks, and you're like, I'm a genius. And then suddenly, when it starts flipping and the gears start changing, and you don't know why the gears are changing, because maybe you're not looking at the stochastics at the 9 hour or the fucking 3 hour, and you don't notice that there's a bullish divergence, but you still think it's bearish because numbers kind of bearish. But the next thing you know, Chainlink's up fucking from $16 yesterday, and now it's at $19, and you're like, oh fuck, I guess I should have bought, right? Like, it's all this kind of boils down to is just kind of like thinking just a little bit ahead, right? Making sure you start off, if you're starting off with leverage, you use isolated, not cross. Cross and isolated, it's a completely different reality. You have to have money on your account if you're using cross. You have to have all this other shit. Start with isolated, figure out, learn, use ChatGPT, AI, I don't care which AI you use, but it's so critical that if you're just starting off, you use AI to ask questions. I can run up AI right now and ask it like it's just good to have a friend while you're trading. Trading alone in your room by yourself when I'm not on the live stream, right? It can be kind of scary, right? Like it's fun when I'm on stream and I'm kind of like saying word by word what I think is going to happen, but you need a friend, right? So, and ChatGPT can do a lot. Like right now, I'm just kind of doing like it knows my strategy, which is kind of fucked up. Like it knows what I'm doing overall, right? Like it just, you can put into Chat GPT, it can spit it out for you, like at least in a more legible way, like okay, what's it kind of looking, and then you kind of look at, you can't fully trust what it's doing, but it's not terribly bad, right? So I mean, here comes the Trump tariff bullshit right now, and look, it was looking kind of weird, and then suddenly, now we're fucking dumping, right? Oh, Trump comes out with the tariffs, la di da, look at that, what a fucking surprise, right? So it's just like you just have to be really prepared for all these situations, and understand that like, hey, even though like right there, like when I said like, hey, take 30% profit on that Solana short, we didn't know Trump was going to come out with what he just said. You don't want to close your full position, because if you open at 194 up in these areas, you don't want to fully close it, because if you fully close it and it decides to go down, and what I said on my live stream today, if you're just, I mean, I'll kind of go back, because now we have to go back in time, because if you'll be watching this video back in time. I don't know why it's being lame right now. Let me go to the 3 hour. Maybe is my internet getting cooked? My internet's been kind of funky monkey today. I don't think it's the internet. I think it's just TradingView, because this is obviously working. But if we look at the 3 hour, like Ethereum today, right? Like it was the triple top stochastic RSI. It was looking really good, right? There's like really good chances of this going down, but at the same time, you look at the shorter time frames, and it's like, what, it's kind of sketchy. It's better to be safe than sorry. You don't want to close your full position, because you want to take, you still believe that it's going to go down, because the 3 hour looks like a very good setup for more down, but you just don't know how it's going to pan out. It's better to be, once again, safe than sorry. It's better to have 100 trades at plus 1% than 100 trades at negative 1%. Right, and if you're saying like, oh, but if I take 30% profit, my position size will be, it won't be big enough. It wasn't big enough to fucking begin with. If taking 30% of your trade is suddenly going to make you feel like, oh man, this is such a small position. It was a small position to begin with, man. It's not like you weren't playing with size to begin with. You know what I'm saying? If it's size to begin with, then you wouldn't. It's like, okay, it's 30%. It's 30%, right? So it's really important to like just have that plan, to have that strategy. Watch my videos on the strategy overall, right? Understand your coin. Understand like, hey, this moves blank amount per day. It's already moved this much. Like, Chainlink moves anywhere between 40-60 cents a day, right? On average, right? Bitcoin will move $2,000-$3,000. Ethereum will move $100 to $150. If it's a more bearish day, it'll move 200. If it's a more, or bullish or bearish, up or down, doesn't matter. If it's a more, not bearish day, but if it's a more volume day, 200-ish, 200 to 250. If it's a boring day, 50 to 75. If it's a mediocre day, 100 to 150, right? Same thing with Solana. Like, you got to know how much does it usually move. And based on that, and based off of the stochastics, use that to your advantage to be like, you know what, I want to take a little profit here, because maybe the 27-minute is looking a little oversold and it's not looking really good. I know you might have a greater idea, like a higher time frame idea, but you also have to have a lower time frame idea, and kind of like build that story together. Those videos where I talk about like put the story together, try to understand what is really what is the information being put in front of you, not what you want to happen, not your target area. Target areas are kind of bullshit, because I would like to see, back to $17 Chainlink or whatever it may be, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get it. The market will only give you what it will allow to give you, right? It's nice to have target. It's nice to look at EMAs, and people are always asking me like, hey, where do you take profit? Do you look at this? Do you look at that? I look at everything. I look at the energy of the market. I look at, hey, what are the stochastics? Hey, what are the EMAs? Is there an idea lining up with, what are the EMAs? What are the Keltners? What are the, what ideas are lining up there? Is there a key area? 350, where is the bottom of the Keltner, right? You want to just put it all together to try to give yourself a story. The EMAs are always a good place. The Keltners are always a good place, but it doesn't necessarily mean that just because, I know it's not an example right now, but let's say we were at that 100 EMA and we moved sideways for the next few hours. Let's just say this didn't happen, right? And all we did was move sideways, 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 and that stochastic went down, right? Well, the stochastic's oversold, and if it maintained that sideways position, like if it did this, it's probably, as much as you'd like your target of the bottom of the Keltner to hit, it's probably not going to hit, right? You can leave a little bit of your bet running, but at the end of the day, you just have to take a good gambled approach to the situation. That's all we're doing here. We're just purely gambling approach situation, right? So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about on this video, because I don't know, I might have to come back on stream here now after I finish this video, but I just wanted to again kind of reiterate to you guys that finding your TP, yes, have goals of where you want to TP, TP1, TP2, but it's more, I'm telling you right now, you'll have way more success focusing your TPs based on the stochastics and how the RSI is moving than actually setting these like TP zones, right? It's nice to have it overall. It depends on what kind of trade you have. Are you a long-term trader or a short-term trader? What's your goal? But fundamentally, the stochastics will always be the truth. The average move of your coin will always be the truth. And over time, you'll notice that this will gain you further success instead of just having all these like, you know, fucking R&R zones and like, oh, I'll take this much and this much and that much, right? So I think that's it. It was a relatively fast video, 16 minutes. But I hope this gives you a little bit of more outlook and thought processing into your trades. I think it should. And always, you know, and what I said on stream today on this video, in this particular moment, I mean, the market is moving down right now, to be fair, a little bit of, in regards to Trump making it happen. But always look at the higher time frame as being the main idea. If your 3 hours are like this overbought, respect the 3 hours, because that's what you really want to respect. You know, the 27 minutes is going to be wishy-washy and a lot of bullshit can happen. But one thing's for sure, if your higher time frames are overbought as fuck and all this shit, respect that, because the higher time frames always matter more than the lower time frames. It's about how the story comes together, gathering the lower time frames, building up into the higher time frame, and getting the full picture. If you haven't watched all my videos, please do. Naked Nation, until the next video, take care, brush your hair, scrub your scalp. I'm out.